if we let it be, because if you see what's going on here, is that initially there was a speaker who talked of the member of parliament Salasia and Babu, a few member of parliament who supposedly are doing well in their constituencies. And then I think Hillary put forth a question that what is the difference? Why does it appear as though some members of parliament receive more than others? It goes without doubt that yes, there are pockets of persons in position of leadership politically that are doing well. But then given that we have a common enemy, we have to keep our focus on the ball so that we don't miss shoot. Because politically speaking, we have various political parties. Kalonzo is angling for the position. There are other persons that will come up angling for the same position. But at what moment will we sit back? Because this administration has only 1 year to go. Once we are done with the December 2025 and we are into January 2026, it will be all politics. It will be all systems loose. So for with this 1 year, what is it that we can do that will empower that gentleman in Kondele, that will empower that lady in Mvita, that will empower that woman in Shinyalu, to know that when I walk into a polling station, I'm going to give the keys of my life to an individual for 5 years, until and unless a recall process is done midway. So it is my submission, and I put emphasis on this almost every day, that the current political class has lost direction. And I think it has been a trend. There is a speaker who gave the chronology from the time of Kenyatta up to date. That is the same system, the same narrative that these people go into office with. They go into office knowing that the times of Kenyatta, it was done like this, and they managed. The times of Moi, it was done as such, and they managed. The times of Kibaki, the same way. Times of Uhuru, the same way. So if we do it the same way, we will still manage. But it is lost to them that the citizen of today is awoke, that the citizen of today is very much alert, save for those who depend on the handouts. And that's why our politicians, today I think I tweeted something asking the ODM party, because I believe we have to take them to task. To be in the opposition is not by choice. When Kenyans elect one party to be in the position of leadership of governance, the government of the day, then there is that other option of putting the government in check. So I asked the ODM party, what is your take on the bills that are currently before the House? There is the rice bill. There is the nuts and oils bill. There is the, what do you call it? The dengue bill was brought down. There was the agricultural professionals bill. There's the horticulture crops bill. What is your take on these bills? Because to my understanding, reading these bills through, hizi bills zinanyanyasa mwananchi wa kawaida. Now, secondly, we have this thing of Ruto saying that we are going to vaccinate livestock. What happened to our livestock? What is it that is so important that we have to vaccinate all the livestock in Kenya? And we just giving an individual business? It is in the same concept that Adani deal came up. People are just looking for business. So my take is we need to empower the commoner with a tool to understand that walking into a polling station, I'm not going to joyride. I'm going to give someone the powers to make laws that will govern my life and the lives of my children for the next 5 years, or unless there's a recall process or the person perishes in office. Yeah. So I humbly submit that we need to focus on two aspects. We need to focus on making the communication reach the people, civic education, and making people politically aware that the political decision that I make today as an individual will affect the entire populace. If you walk into a polling station, 1,000 people, and each one of us takes a different political stand, all the 1,000 of us will be affected by those political stands, whether I identify with you or not. It is for that reason that we must call for unity of purpose. If it is the case against Adani, let us show up. Let us show up. Let us avail ourselves. Let us express ourselves in all podium, in all media, in all means that we can. Because as Milton has said it, someone is always listening. Someone is always out there trying to pick up what the people are saying. And it goes without saying that everybody is tired of the current administration. I mean, you have a pay slip, but it is zero. You've got nothing. Today I was at the Juakali, I was discussing the Juakali guys. I was telling that you are the only lucky people now in this country because you can make your money and you take it home in cash. Yeah, those of us in business, those of us in employment, we are hurting. Nobody is feeling well. Yesterday, Ken Mijungu hosted the debate on economy, and it was a common, it was a common say that the economy is not doing well. The economy is only doing well to those who are in the government, to those who steal. If you have the opportunity to steal, then you will be very fine. But not all of us were created thieves. Neither are all of us able to convert into thieves. A time has come that we must remember that any position that you hold, all of us occupy positions of leadership in the family, in the church, in a football team, in a netball team, wherever we are. That position that you hold it in trust. And it is on that basis that we need to start combing amongst ourselves and seeing what is the alternative. But before we get to knowing what is the alternative, because that also will cause division amongst us, let us focus on getting rid of the common enemy. Because he's been defeated and we are headed to the dark days. I don't want to imagine how things will be come January. Things will be bad. And the next year is going to be tough. We have to tighten the belt. For those of us who have tummies to tie the belt, some of us have lost weight that there's not even no need to having a belt. But I mean, we need to identify that we have a common purpose, stick to the common purpose, forget about the diversion of Saksa Vakinamako Ure or all these person. Everybody's pursuing his or her own interest, but as a people, we must be able to identify this is the destiny that we want for our nation. This is the future we want for our country. And that is what we focus on. Because, guys, these men and women in position are stealing. The stealing is just too much. And that's why earlier I said, God would forgive them if they stole and pumped that money back into the economy. Yeah, put up industries that will give jobs. But here's a case that someone is stealing and stacking that money overseas and no money to circulate. If you go to the counties, for example, the county of Kakamega, the county of Kisumu, I mean, they have not paid services for the last 4 months. Every time they get money, they tell you this is for recurrent expenditure. Every time they get money, this is for recurrent expenditure. But then the argument is, if you receive, for example, 700 million, and for example, your recurrent expenditure is 500 million, 100 million floated into the market, people, the local mamamboga, the local boda guy would feel it. Because once you pay even 20 people only, the boda guy will have a feel of that money. But here's a scenario that we are told that it's only 100 million balance, but then within 2 weeks, the 100 million balance is gone. Why? The guys have squandered it. So we are in a society that we need to sieve through the systems that we have. We need to comb through the structures that we have, because there's a lot of duplication in government. There's a lot of wastage in government. Take, for example, if this government was serious, then they would say, because for a deputy president to fly from Nairobi to Siaya to attend a church function, he doesn't use his money. For the president to fly from Nairobi to Kakamega to attend a church function, he doesn't use his money. He uses public money. And if they are talking of we are economically not doing well, then we need to save the little that we have. Yeah. So I don't want to say too much, but I believe that my focus should be on the commoner. Let us train our guns on the vote. Let our mothers, our sisters, and brothers be aware. We have to convince the hearts of these people that yes, at Kondele you can sing ODM, baba, 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 baba. Fine, no problem. But when it comes to that moment of casting your vote, Know that you are giving your life. Know that you are giving the life of your son, the life of your daughter, of your mother, of your wife. You are giving your future, 5 years, at the hands of someone. If you give that to someone who does not value your life, who does not appreciate the gesture that you give him by voting for him, then better keep off. I submit.
Thank you, Linus, for that powerful submission. I see there are a few hands that are up. Wanjiro, Redemptor, if you want to chime in, you can go ahead. And then we'll give Brian, Runingi. Redemptor, go ahead.
Hi.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Wanjiro?
No, Redemptor, you can go ahead first.
Yeah, and Wanjiro, before you, there's something you said that was very important about data, and I just wanted to just make an announcement to the citizens that in the last 6 months they've gathered information from the elders again, and this time they're not giving them the stipend of 4,000, they're giving them 2,000. So I think that was data mining. That is for the intention of voting. So it's just good to be aware. Yes, we are skeptical all the time for a reason. Now, it is unfortunate Anthony has made a submission and left. I want to throw a spanner in the works for him. Milton, I had your very powerful submission, and yes, so the reason we still assemble here is because we believe there's a revolution in progress. It lost momentum. I want to believe the pain, the taxes are back. It will pick momentum, and probably we will have a day greater than 25. Milton seems to be losing his connection, but I wanted to ask a question because Anthony has left. What's between Makaure? Sorry, I have to name names because they mention names. What is the difference between Makauri joining ODM and Anthony joining Wiper? And the reason I'm bringing this is it feels like we are in a corner, we've been backed in a corner, and we are now being told, let's pick the lesser evil again. What we have been told is we are so desperate for a revolution, and not that I'm opposed to the Adani case taking place, but can this Adani case be done out of the goodness of the heart of our leaders wanting to save our country? Or are they going to come back and tell us, okay, if it was not for me, we would not have gone to court, and so here I am, I'm presenting myself as a leader. I have to ask that question because I am loyal to my young people because I had children in the streets of Nairobi. They came to the streets and they said, we are tired of your BS. Sorry, I'm going to use the language they were using. We are tired of your BS, and so we choose to be leaderless, tribeless, partyless, and we are now the opposition. Now we are back to right why our young people died. So someone comes to a space and says, we are going to the streets again, we are going to do this, because we had no option, because we are very broke. The only person with money is Kalonzo, and so he's going to provide for us media. Are we listening to ourselves? We are backed in a corner, the same way young people were backed in the corner and they could not afford a meal. They didn't have jobs. And then they said, we are going to fix this. The older generation, you had the opportunity. What did you do? You aligned yourself with your tribesmen, and the country is now burning. We can't even move. So it's just a caution that yes, we are in spaces to mobilize and organize, but we really do need to know the backstories of some of these conversations. I believe this revolution is going to be renamed. And if you people will give me an opportunity to be part of the people who rename this revolution, it will be called Maskini Jeuri. We are not poor because we are lazy. We are not poor because it's not for lack of trying. The odds are stacked up against us, and the people of Kenya of all ages cannot make a living. And so we are all poor by default. So that now we come every election cycle and say the lesser evil. Let's compromise. They are offering themselves. They have said they will bring their media vehicles. They are going to cover. And what will they get in return? Bonga points. I'm the one who went to court. Because this case was already there with LSK. Why didn't we support LSK? And take this conversation with LSK and say, this is a body, we trust this body right now. They were there saving our young people when they were being arrested. Sorry, when you come and say you're going to give an unpopular submission and then you leave, then I'm left to talk to everybody else who thinks that we are not taking notes. We've been taking notes from June that we wanted leaderless, tribeless, partyless. Anybody who goes and aligns and becomes partyful, becomes leaderful, becomes now the opposition, is leaving behind the young people who paid the ultimate price to liberate this country. It is also unpopular for me to say we are not there yet. And then people will say, no, how will we get to 2027 without a leader? And I will take back to history and tell you in 2002, when we were sick and tired of being sick and tired, those men who are now compromising and playing games with us, they locked themselves in a conference room in Serena. They came out and they told us, Kibaki Tosha. So I do believe there's an opportunity for that Tosha moment to happen. But until it does, I know, Fabish, you want to keep the momentum and the fire going, and let's go. And I am suggesting and recommending everybody to mobilize at their own level. But when it comes and we are talking about pathing a path to accountable governance, let's just have a sober conversation and say, how did we get here? We got here because these people, they have learned how we think, they have mastered how to play with us, and right now, the borrower becomes a slave to the lender. So if they are the ones who are going to lend us to create awareness of Adanidi, they will demand we will become a slave. Yet we are struggling to be free. Tomorrow is a big day. I've never come to any of these spaces and told people not to organize, not to mobilize, but I'm just here to have that the two tools that I use are oppression and shaping of narratives. The narratives are being now shaped again, and we are being told we have no choice. We have to follow these old people again because they have systems and structures they already have. So, what are you telling that young man who has never voted? That your vote will not count unless it comes with the big wigs. You know, the same way we talk about big wigs in conversation, now we have the issue of big wigs in terms of the existing political parties and political leaders. That is my unpopular submission. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Redemptor. I like your submission. Actually, yeah, it's true. We need a different types of leadership. It's underscored by the repeated shortcoming of the cycle of the leaders, whose long tenure has failed to deliver a lasting progress. Leaders such as Mudavadi, Kalonzo Musyoka, William Ruto, Raila have been in the mainstay in the Kenya political landscape for decades. Yet their leadership has been often marked by focus on political survival rather than transformative governance. They have not enacted any tangible, sustainable reforms that address the core issues affecting Kenya. Mudavadi has been there since 1990, he took over from his dad. His legacy remains the same. They only come with this, he's a calm person with a good demeanor. Kalonzo similarly has served in multiple influential roles, yet he remains associated with political maneuvering rather than groundbreaking policy achievement. William Ruto, the same, is holding the presidency, has faced criticism for policies than reducing the cost of living and fostering inclusive government. He has been on a political survival. Raila, once seen as a symbol of reform, has disappointed those who looked for him in genuine transformation with alliances that are increasingly aligned with the status quo he once opposed. So I think you're right. What are we expecting in return when we say that we are still recycling these people back to we support them in one way or the other? What is the leverage they want? And resources to maintain, they are given resources to maintain control over our movement and alliances, even some providing strategic funding to bolster, I think, their position within the political cycle. Like Kalonzo and others have historically leveled their influence to find or support movement that align with their interests, ensuring they remain central to the power dynamic. So I think this is all maintaining the status quo. Thank you for that perspective of spinning the narrative. Over to you, Wanjiro. I think we have a couple of Brian, Fabrice Ruingu in that order. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Abdi, and thank you, Redemptor, for that powerful submission. I think you're right in every sense that we are kind of being socialized to think that if things don't go through certain people, then they're not going to be as effective or they will not happen. I'll go back to the Constitution of Kenya that says that all sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya. And what that means is that everybody in Kenya has equal power, that they donate to those who then go and become leaders and representatives. So in terms of thinking about Kenya as a country, so if Kenya had a big title deed, every citizen's name is imprinted on that title deed. We have an equal share of what this country Kenya is. But obviously, when it comes to power, we find that when we then donate this power, some people take this and then use it for generations and generations to, you know, prompt themselves as the most powerful people, as the people who can speak on our behalf all the time. And we can see people like Kalonzo Musyoka and Mudavadi and, all these other people, the Raila Odinga, they're holding power that actually they shouldn't be, projecting themselves as leaders of the people, because we all have the right to donate our power to them, but they have crafted this way of brainwashing people that they are the leaders, they're the country leaders, everybody has to look up to them, and even in the next dispensation, we have to be thinking, oh, we have Mother Karua, or we have, Mudavadi. So these are the names that always come up. And therefore, young people who are now ripe for leadership feel that, the top up there is, polluted. It needs to be cleared. But then, because these people have power, they have accumulated money, they have a way of, just pushing people around and maintaining that position. My question is today, and I'm really about this tax thing. It's really been in my head, and I'm thinking, when we say sovereign power belongs to the people, does my power also include my taxes? Because the money I give to government, I think, is a way of empowering that government. So if I pay taxes, I'm empowering this government to be able to run. And I think the problem we have in Kenya today is that the government has a way of operating, and the way they're operating with the money they're collecting and the loans they're borrowing, if that aspect of government was threatened, then government is going to panic. And you remember on June 25th, when people came out because of finance bill, and Ruto panicked because he saw a situation whereby the government wouldn't be able to collect enough money to run, and that's why he quickly came out, and he said he listened, and he said, I'm going to fire this, and he fired his CSS, in quotes, and he did all these things because he felt threatened, because government cannot run without money. And as we keep paying our taxes, even if we keep making noises and we keep going on the street, and as they get the money, as they're getting their money, they're getting paid, they're getting they're able to steal and able to enrich themselves, they don't really care. I don't think they care. But the day they'll feel threatened is the day they'll see that they cannot collect enough taxes. It's, for example, today, people decided they're not going to pay taxes, for example, and they do it in a legal way. And people find ways, like I think in Ethiopia, where there was a parallel economy running. That is the day that the government is going to start listening. Everything else, as long as they're able to manage and run and do all these things they're doing, and pay themselves big salaries and all this, and steal all this money, they're okay, they're comfortable. The day they will feel threatened is the day they will feel like money is not going to come in. The citizens have decided you're not offering, healthcare. You're not, providing adequate education, and therefore, why should we be paying our taxes? We're going to withhold our taxes until you sort this mess, and then we can pay the taxes, and then things can get moving. The day people will get up and say those things, that's the day the government will start listening. That's my submission for now.
Thank you, Redemptor. I think Anthony is back. Redemptor had a question. We'll cycle back to you on what is the take for Kalonzo being in this cycle. We'll get back to you. Let me bring in Brian, Seseko, Fabiaski. They are raising their hand 1 minute each, and then we cycle back to Andrew, Anthony, and Dr. Milton. Thank you. Ruingi, go ahead, and in that order, Brian, Fabiaski, Ruingi, and Seseko, in that order. 1 minute each. Thank you.
Okay, I'll first, in my presentation, I would like to ask Wanjiru if she's aware of the proposal by Okiya Mtata and incidentally Kasamuel proposal on the citizens not paying taxes. Might you have seen that?
Yeah, I saw that, but there's no structure on how to do that. You know, these things have to be done in a structured way.
Not really. My point here, what I'm trying to say is this. I feel like there's this purist approach, which, and some people can call it ageism, which, you know, we say that, you know what, we need to build a new Kenya, we get new people, and then now we start working and building, you know, as we move. I have tried to pick examples, even from Kenya, of where something akin to that happened. There's a description which has been given about, 2002 and how people said Kibaki Tosha. But people don't understand. Kibaki had run to become president 2 times. The first time in 92 and then in 97, where they split the vote and Moi, after the repeal of the Section 2A, stayed in power for those 10 years. Of course, in 2002 he lost. My point is this. All of us here, I think, understand who the common enemy is. Where I think this common enemy is likely to succeed is because of I don't know how to put it. Either it's us relucting not to organize and select whoever it is or whatever structure it will be and push them forward. Because voters rarely vote for something. Yes, we can say, no, we want a new Kenya for people to vote for something. I'm trying to be pragmatic here. In America, many focus groups, especially Republican focus groups, any of you who has time can go and check. They usually publish. They say they don't like Donald Trump. However, they are going to vote for him because he felt what they felt. William Ruto was among the most corrupt persons in Kenya. I mean, we can go all. I'm not here to say that, you know, we come, we get somebody who's, you know, a messiah to come and help us and etc. I don't believe in personalities. Structures are more superior. Whatever it is that is happening and whatever it is that can improve the Kenyan. Most Kenyans, if you go and talk to them, they don't. Yes, we are here. We are maybe educated, and some of us are more sophisticated. Clearly, that is not how your average voter thinks. We went. There's this guy Boniface Mwangi in his campaign, and I'm among the few people who volunteered. What I saw, I think it's well documented. There's a movie called Softie. My point here is, can people be practical? And can we understand who we are dealing with? William Ruto is not bounded by the rules that, that we are bounded with. He doesn't care. And if the point is to get this regime out of power, it means that we need to, what can I say, in a sense, start preparing and sometimes working backwards. Because it's very difficult to brand an idea or to brand a personality. I don't know how it could be a political party or etc. Across the 47,000 or is it 46,000 polling centers. It is very difficult. I'm not saying it can't be done, it can be done. It requires the kind of facilitation and sometimes financing that I think Kenyans are not ready for. Yes, people are feeling the pain. Yes, they need somebody, and which is unfortunate because I think institutions are more superior than personalities. But now, because our politics is organized in that way, moving this politics from it being tribal to it being